crazy and crazier and crazier rabbit holes. So I want to bounce to the next story.
Absolutely.
Which is a cold calling scam that happened to the it's O2 cell phone provider out of the UK. So what was happening, the gist of this was that, quote unquote, lucky customers were getting these calls of 35 to 40% discounts on their cell phone bill. The only catch was that the person that was calling them needed to get direct access to their account, which with the O2 system required your two-factor authentication, the code that you get in a text message, to have access. And apparently lots of people kind of did that before it kind of got called out. Apparently it may have happened even to the person that contributed to the article, and she picked up on what was going on and didn't do that. So now we're seeing, if you happen to be watching the clip on YouTube, we got the image up here, but there's basically the exact warning that you kind of get about what this looks like. And it says the cold caller asks if you want to take advantage of the discount. At the same time, the scammer visits the O2 sign-in page, types in your phone number, and asks for the one-time code to access your account so they can apply the discount directly. And if you hand over the code, then they have access. When you hear something like this, that now we're going to see some breakages in two-factor authentication, what's the first thing that pops into your head?
Genius.
Yeah.
I think, from once again, a business mindset, I think it's genius. I mean, what they've done is they've created a whole scam built around getting around two-factor authentication. So they're calling you up saying, hey, we've got this great deal for you to take advantage of. But in order to see if you can qualify, in order to get it to you, I have to prove that you are you, even though I'm the one who called you. I got to prove that you were you. So I'm going to send you a one-time code, and I need you to read that code back to me. And that's the way they're getting around it. I mean, genius. Once again, I can't say it enough. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. Criminals are treating this stuff like a business. And if you don't understand that, that's whenever you can become a victim. And so I think in this case, it's all about being aware, understanding that criminals are coming up with more creative ways to do malicious and nefarious things so that they can capitalize on your not knowing. And that's really what it boils down to.
This reminds me, and I don't know if I don't think I've shared the story yet. I'll do part of it, of the gift card scam that was kind of going along, because I actually know somebody that did this, where you get called up, hey, relatives in jail, financial trouble, but I need gift cards. I need like the Visa gift cards, and they walk around and get them. They scratch off the card and they read them the numbers over the phone.
Number. Yep.
This reminds, in a way, this reminds me of that, and just what. This is the part of human nature, and that people are, you're tapping into that thing of, man, I can get something way cheaper than I'm used to. And that if it sounds too good, it probably is too good, particularly something like this that's out of the blue. How do we, from an emotional standpoint, psychological standpoint, get better at recognizing these types of things? I don't know if I just sprung that question on you now, because I don't know how you do that, because in the heat of the moment, sometimes you just get caught up in the heat of the moment. So I don't even know, how do you break that psychological cycle to sit there and go, hold on, whoa, let me tap the brakes on this just a moment here to see if this is legit.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that, other than getting people to not be or to be more skeptical. I think as IT providers and those that work in the cybersecurity space, we're skeptic by nature. Like everything is always too good to be true. Like it doesn't make sense. Why is it doing this? And we ask that question of why. Like, why is this happening? Why did I receive this? Why do you want me to do this? Why are you asking me this? So by nature we do that. Unless you can teach and ingrain that in people, just to take a half a step to ask the question of why, or this doesn't seem quite right. Until we get people to that point, then they're always going to be victims of this. And one of the things that I know I talk a lot about, but I don't know if I've mentioned it here on this platform, where we have to understand that the deck is stacked against us when it comes to cybersecurity and protecting ourselves in this digital space, because the criminals only have to get it right once, and we have to win every single time. And so the deck is completely stacked against us. They just need us to trip up one time, and they got us in their end. And we have to be perfect. And so it's not fair, but it's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a couple. I'm going to say practical tips that I personally do to try to kind of avoid some of this stuff. The first thing is I don't answer a cold call. so if I've got my phone set up. If you're actually not in my address book, you can leave a voicemail, but most of those times those guys don't. There have been some where I get stuff and you're like, it's just like, I'll get a message like, hey, this is Tina. Just give me a call back. You left me and I'm like, who? But I'm not getting in that heat of the moment where I picked up a random phone call. I'm definitely much more deliberate as well when it comes to, email. We've talked about this. If I get an email that says it's from my bank and totally legitimate, I never click the links inside of those, even if I know it's the bank. I'll go. Yeah. You're asking me to do something. I'll actually not use the email. I'll go to the website, log in, and go. Yeah. Hey, is this legitimate? Same thing if I get a text message. The banks are pretty good about saying, hey, is this charge authorized? And approved. They're getting better with some of that stuff. So I'll go. Yeah. I'll actually log into the site or go to their site to find the phone number, not in the text message, not in an email, but from the website that I know is, to the best of my knowledge, a trusted source on the site that's cloned the website. But those are just a few practical tips I knew to try to break through that psychological barrier to a degree.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm different because I'm a product of the 80s. And so as my kids will tell you, I just say no. I don't do nothing. I don't click on nothing. You ask me something, no. Knows my default response until I slow down and be like, well, should I? But then by that point in time, no always serves you well. So as they said back in the 80s, just say no.
Just say no.
Be safer.
Hey, you know what this proved to me? So apparently cold calling is not dead.
It's not dead. It's not dead. It's just reinvented. That's all
I was going to say, because I've definitely seen the hesitation with this, man, but if they're not making money, they wouldn't be doing it.
They wouldn't be doing it. It's a business, man.
Yeah,
it's a business.
And that is a drum you may hear every single episode that you turn in at least once.
Guarantee it, because I've always said it.
And with that, we'll move into the next article. Which is not so much an article, but something